This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo, who is back this week, which is really good because if anybody was listening last week, I did not do too well on Bluff the co-host. I lost all three, John.
Wait a minute, Karen. That's news to me now. Wait a minute. You lost all three?
Yeah.
You have to conspire somehow.
Wait a minute. This isn't what this show is about. Bluff the co-host is not the only thing on What in the World.
Well, of course, there's strange sports too.
Well, yeah. Wait a minute, though. Bluff the co-host is a prime feature, though. And
holy smoke! Well, I'm glad we're editing all of this out later.
That's right. At least we can do that. That's exactly right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to What in the World. What in the world are we doing here? This is, hi, yes, I am Paul Seaburn, the host of What in the World. That wonderful introduction came from Karen Hale, the media mogul at NewClevelandRadio.net, our co-host and producer. And the other voice you heard there, if you're listening, or if you're watching us on YouTube, the guy with a little less hair than me is John DiNallo, who is back from hiatus. Hi, John.
Hi, Karen. It's good to be back.
We are, so we're here with What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news show. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto, and that's our goal. That's what we try to do. We try to give you an hour a week where you don't have bad news, political news, business news, medical news, all that other stuff that's just depressing. Instead, we give you news you don't hear in the mainstream media. Just weird stuff that we try to have fun with, and that's our goal. So stick with us. We try to keep the story short. If you don't like one, hang in there for a minute. We'll have another story coming up right after it. And we've got some great, unusual stories this week. I want to get right to them. We've got, I want to say hello, by the way. Again, and thanks to everyone who's tuning in. I want to say a couple of hellos, a couple of shout outs. I apologize, I can't pronounce everybody's names, but we have a lot of listeners in India. And I want to thank you for tuning in on whatever platform you're tuning in on in India. I hope everything is well there for you. If you see any good stories over there, I'm on Facebook. Send them to me. we'll put them on next week.
Absolutely.
Or sports. Oh, if we could, something on cricket for John would be great.
It would be, yes.
Maybe some weird version of cricket. Nude cricket. That would be a good one. Probably dangerous.
Excuse me, this is a family show.
Oh, that's right. It's a family show. I'm sorry. Cricket while wearing clown outfits. How about that?
Ooh, okay.
Different.
That sounds like a Bluff the co-host story. I can't get away from Bluff the co-host. I don't know what this is. Okay, what are we talking about this week? Get ready for musical crop circles in England. Oh, this is a good one. This is some trivia for you, John.
Okay.
Strange eggs in India and giant eggs in Australia. It's unbelievable what these look like. The most common phobias in the United States by state. So start thinking about what phobias you have, and we'll see where you rank on this list of phobias.
Okay.
Disco scallops. That's all I'm going to say. Disco scallops. You'll have to tune in to find out what that's all about. Alien romances in England. This is a great one. And then, I got some good world records, more odd news, more trivia. We've got John is back with What in the World of Weird Sports. And as promised, we will be playing Bluff the co-host, where Karen gets a chance to better her score from last week against the ranking, the world leader in Bluff the co-host, John DiNallo. So well,
thanks for the big build-up, Paul.
No pressure, John. No pressure. All right, well, let's get right to it here with what do we have up here first? Oh, one of the things that I try to avoid on What in the World, I also avoid it on Mysterious Universe, where I am the head writer and editor at mysteriousuniverse.org, where some of the stories that we talk about come from. I'm a serious universe. I take a slightly more serious note, and I go a little more in depth with the stories. The funny, weird, really weird stuff we save for What in the World. So I don't do crime stories. I really try to avoid crime stories. But this one just captured me today. So here's my crime story for the week. Police in Auburndale, Florida. So you already know it's going to be a weird one if it's in Florida. Auburndale, Florida. The police are searching for 3 men suspected of stealing $19,000 worth of jewelry from the local Walmart. 3 guys, $19,000. They needed $19,000 worth of jewelry. They needed 3 guys because they had to haul out 19,000 pairs of Walmart earrings.
Okay. Okay.
It's unbelievable.
I know. If Walmart personnel, if you're listening, we're sorry. If you still want to sponsor the show, we'd love to have you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But now, wait a minute. Before anybody gets offended by my joke about Walmart jewelry, do you ever see anyone at the jewelry counter? I mean, employees at the jewelry counter at Walmart.
No.
Last few times I've been there, there's never anybody there. If it's really expensive, valuable jewelry, there'd be someone there, right?
Well, I don't even see them at the cash registers anymore either. I have to check on my own stuff.
Oh yeah, they're guarding all the most valuable stuff at Walmart, which is toilet paper and baby formula. Yeah. Other than that, that's where they're at. They're with broom handles and bats from the sports department. They're guarding that stuff with their lives.
I have to agree. If I could offer, I have to agree. I don't see either the employees by the jewelry counter or customers by the jewelry counter.
You got it.
I don't go to Walmart that much. I mean, I go to Walmart, okay, like anyone else. But
you don't get your lovely wife jewelry at Walmart.
I do not. I'm going to go on record and say, leave it at that.
The trick is you get it at Walmart and then you change the label to wall. I don't know what. But forget it. Don't do that, guys.
No,
guys,
don't do that.
Listening, don't do that. Not a good idea. Okay, let's move on.
Right.
If we have any listeners from Pakistan, which is right next door to India, here's a story for you, and a world record, by the way. And I think I have a picture for this one. A 70-year-old man in Pakistan, 70 years old, broke the Guinness World Record by using his hand to crush 21 apples in 1 minute. 21 apples in 1 minute. Here's a picture of him right here. So he's got one in his hand, and he's got the rest of them lined up, and he kind of just walks down a line on a table and picks it up and squeezes the apple in his hand until the juice and pulp comes out, slams it down, moves over, and squeezes the next one. 21. That's one every less than 5 seconds. So it takes
he's wasting good apples.
Well, okay. So from what I heard, he wants to start a business. He wants us to start a business using the remains of the apple.
Oh,
but
okay.
Somebody is already using the name Muscle Man's Applesauce. So he's got to come up with a different name. Boy, that one, where did...
Yeah, I got that.
Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. I got it too. I just didn't respond. That's okay.
Oh, that's what you're here for, John.
All right.
It's in your contract.
Yeah, that's right. I do have a contract now that I think.
Oh my.
What I learned from this story. So yeah, that's what he does. I don't know what they do with the leftover apple. I mean, he has to train every day to do this. And what I heard is that crushing an apple a day keeps both the doctor away and annoying handshaking politicians. So, that
might be a value then. That might be a value right now.
Yeah, exactly. Or people who, not too many people are shaking hands anymore. They're doing the fist bump and
right.
Elbow thing. Yeah.
Yep.
So this guy, he could scare him away. Somebody puts their hand out, he pulls out an apple and squeezes the pulp out of it. And next thing you know, they're fist bumping or kissing or whatever. It's something other than shaking hands. Karen, you mentioned the meth. I thought, why isn't he crushing oranges? It seems to me that would be a good business. And probably another world record is to squeeze as many oranges as he can in a minute and then sell the juice. He's
Well,
70
yeah.
years old. He probably needs a retirement job. So,
Yeah.
that sounds like the perfect job.
Not to be funny, I mean, he really has to have some strength to be able to crush an apple like that.
No
I mean,
kidding. And
I
these
really-
don't look like rotten apples either. They look like
They
good,
look
healthy.
right, that a strong apple or whatever, or firm one. I mean, he's got to have some strength. Wow.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, and if they're Honeycrisp, those are even harder to squeeze.
Maybe
Oh,
we should try this out on next week's show.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, Karen. We'll be waiting for you to lead the way there.
Yeah, right.
I think you suggested that when we did the story about the guy who smashes apples with his head.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. That is correct.
Those regulars on the show, we didn't do that the following week either. So.
We did that. Yes, we did that.
Okay, so now this next story comes to us from Japan, and you got to be ready for this. I'll do my best to explain it. Ayumi Takada is the lady's name. Lovely, lovely lady. I have some pictures of her. 37 years old, from Tokyo, who has her claim to fame. She has unusually stretchy earlobes. We were talking about the jewelry counter and earrings at Walmart before. If she went to Walmart to buy earrings, she'd probably have to buy a dozen or so. Let's see if there's her picture. Probably have to buy a dozen or so for each ear, just for the lobe. Her earlobes are 1 3/4 inches long when she stretches them out. And what she does with these stretchy earlobes is that she uses them to hold things like selfie sticks, which is what the
Oh my
picture
gosh.
is I have here. She's holding, she wrapped her earlobe around a selfie stick, so that the camera is in her face, so that she can hold her dog with both of her arms. A handy thing to be able to do, although she's got almost 2-inch long earlobes. Anyway, not only does she hold selfie sticks,
painful. It seems to me to be painful. I don't know.
You think?
Yes.
She holds calligraphy brushes, cleaning appliances, and other things not listed in the article that I was looking at. So, it looks gross, but she's never lost an AirPod. So, it might be. In
Okay.
fact, let's see this
She's got
one.
a tough way to
So here
go.
you go.
Oh.
So there she is stretching her ear. You can hear by Karen's exclamation that it is pretty gross.
Yeah.
And then once she pulls it down 1 3/4 inches, she puts the selfie stick up against it
And she
and
rolls
kind of
it.
rolls it back up. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And somehow it stays there, so that she can do other things while she's recording herself on her phone.
Wait a minute. The value of this is so she can do other things. My central question is why?
Why?
You got it.
She said that for people who are worried, the earlobe bounces back to its normal size after she's done. And if you think about it, if she could get away with never buying earplugs, she just stretches it and shoves them into the hole. She can mow the lawn, not hear a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I have one
Everything
more
is
picture.
correct. You just said, Paul. Right. That's very true.
Now,
What do we do with it?
I thought this one was interesting. Here she is drawing calligraphy with the calligraphy brush in her earlobe. So she could be doing other things with her hands, like eating sushi or dusting while she's drawing intricate calligraphy images and letters. I don't know what else to say. I thought it was an interesting story.
Very unique, Paul. A very unique story.
Yes, tending on the gross side, but unique. So
yes.
Yeah. I'll keep my earlobes the way they are.
I think so too.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so this is. So I mentioned the musical crop circle. This is a crop. I don't get to talk about crop circles that often. A lot of people don't believe in them. There's people who believe that they were made by aliens. I'll put the picture up here. It won't give it away. There's the crop circle I'll be talking about. This is the second crop circle of the current season in
Wow,
England.
is that neat looking?
Yeah, they actually have seasons, when obviously in coordination with when there's things growing in the fields. So this one is from let's see, Hippenscombe, England. I'm not sure where that is. Obviously, a farming area, and this particular circle is actually an octagon. For those of you that can't see it, it's got 8 sides. Inside the octagon, it looks like there's blades sticking out, like the teeth of a saw sticking in towards the inside, pointing to a circle which has 4 spheres in it, orbiting a larger sphere. So that's the description of it. As I mentioned, it's the second one of the season. This comes from a company that sends drones out. Whenever somebody sees a crop circle, they send drones out and they take beautiful pictures of it. But normally, I had some other pictures from them. This particular picture, the reason why it's musical is because it was taken by the guitarist of Queen, Brian May. Brian May, yeah, he was rehearsing for a solo album nearby, and his helicopter was flying over the field, and he looks down. Brian May looks down, and he sees this beautiful crop circle, and wants to know, he posted it on Instagram, and he said, "What is this? Is this aliens? Is it? Did a human make this? It's certainly unusual. It looks hard for a human to be able to make that particular design. And this isn't even one of the more sophisticated and intricate crop circles I've seen. But anyways, so he said, so he asked on social media, what exactly do you think it is? And so I wrote back and I said, now I'm under pressure to respond to your crop circle question before another one bites the dust. Was it caused by aliens or field scooting fat bottom girls?
I like the song references, Paul. Very good. Very good.
those are I don't know how many 3 Queen songs in there.
Yes.
I didn't hear back from him, but I wanted to mention Brian May. I love Brian May for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that I'm a big fan of Queen and his guitar playing. He's also a doctor of astrophysics. So I've done stories about him having nothing to do with music. He is a world leading expert on asteroids, and he gets called by NASA quite a bit for his opinions and theories on various asteroids. Go figure. And then he plays in Fat Bottom Girls. His first band. Now this tells you how intellectual this guy is. His first band was called 1984, named for the George Orwell novel.
Yep.
So he's an astrophysicist. He's a doctor. His first band was called 1984. What songs do you think this brilliant man wrote while he was with Queen? He wrote "We Will Rock You," intricate lyrics there, and he also wrote "Fat Bottom Girls." So that tells you a little bit about the other side of Queen's Brian May.
Multifaceted, obviously.
Yeah, okay, that's a good word, John. We'll go with that one. Now, speaking of space, I'm going to take this down here. We'll get you back to looking at us here. NASA astronaut Mark Van de High is his name. He holds the American record for the most consecutive days on the International Space Station, 355 days, almost a full year. He just revealed, he just came back on a recent flight. He revealed that in March, there was a rumor going around the space station that Russia, because of what was going on in Ukraine, was going to leave him up there because they had, they were bringing their own people back on, and they were going to leave him up here. How did he find out? He just revealed how he found out. His wife sent him a text message and said, "Guess what they're talking about down here?" So that's how he found out, was from a text from his wife. Normally astronauts stuck on the space station get Dear John messages, you haven't been home for 300 days. I don't know what you're doing up there. I'm going.
Right, exactly. That's pretty.
Yeah, really. So he didn't get a Dear John. He got a watch out for Ivan message.
Wow.
But that made the national news.
Oh yeah, they copied it
Yeah.
from us. They knew I was going to be talking about it.
Okay.
We're the trendsetters, We've been trendsetters for years. So
Yeah,
Yes, we have.
yeah. We'll give them one, Karen. We'll let them beat us on one.
Okay, no problem.
Did they talk about what he should have done when he found out that the Russians might be planning to leave him up there? I bet they didn't talk about that.
No, they didn't. So you tell us.
Okay.
What do you know?
Maybe he should have kissed up to him. He could have been sitting up there one day saying, that show, The Americans? I never liked the Americans on that show. I like the Russians. or you remember that cartoon, Rocky and Bullwinkle? I always liked Boris and Natasha better than that.
Very good. Very good, Paul. Yeah. Very good.
Or when all else fails, hey, Boris, would you like to try some of my freeze-dried Russian dressing?
Ooh.
Oh, that would win him over for sure.
Yes, it would. Yeah, it would have. Wow. Never thought about that, Paul.
There you go. All right. So this is, I got a couple of animal stories here. This one comes from Copenhagen. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen are studying horses and pigs. And they found out that horses and pigs can detect negative sounds in the human voice, which and not only hear the sound, but actually mirror the emotion that the human has when he or she is making those sounds, which behavioral biologists say is the first step towards the animal showing signs of empathy, which up until now was something that only humans showed was empathy toward other beings. I'm worried. Do pigs really feel empathy? I mean, just think about this. You're a farmer, and the pigs are outside listening at the window while you're having breakfast, and you make some negative comment about the fact that there's no more bacon. They're going to hear your negative comment, but are they going to be empathetic towards that statement?
Oh boy.
They're going to run in the other direction.
Oh, that's right. No, they're going to do an Animal Farm. Another George Orwell book. They're going to do an animal. They're going to get up on two legs. They're going to beat on the door. Next thing you know, the farmer's out, and they're taking over.
Oh boy.
4 legs bad, 2 legs good.
Yep.
There's our Animal Farm reference for today.
Okay.
And speaking of negative pigs, have you ever seen a wild boar? I mean, talk about negative attitudes. Pigs don't need to be empathetic towards negative humans. They're already pretty negative on the boar side. Anyways, talking about breakfast, here's my segue here. Paleontologists, that means we're going to be talking about dinosaurs, in Australia found broken eggshells from 50,000 years old, and they found burn marks on them, which signified that the first Australians, long before the Europeans showed up, the Aborigines, cooked and ate eggs from a giant flightless bird called either the thunderbird or the demon duck, somewhere between 30,000 and 5,000 years ago. These eggs, I tried to find a picture that showed how big they were. All they could say is they're the size of watermelons. So you can imagine how big the bird must be.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Demon duck to
lay
an egg the size of a watermelon. I mean, can you imagine eating an egg that big?
I don't know. What kind of plate do you need for that?
What kind of pan do you need to cook it in?
Well, that's good, right?
Where do you find a piece of toast big enough to
dip
stick
in the
into the
eggs?
yolk?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions I had about that. How do you scramble it? I could see taking this giant watermelon-sized egg, putting it in a vat, and then maybe stomping on it like you're making wine in order to scramble it. And then, of course, John, then you got to tip it over into some kind of giant pan. And
what a process it would be, Paul.
No kidding. Yeah. Well,
I hope my husband doesn't want eggs for dinner tonight.
All I can say is they must have been good, because the demon ducks are extinct. So,
Okay, good.
Okay, right.
but speaking of eggs, I'm glad, here's another story. This will turn your husband off to eggs, Karen. This
Okay.
story comes from India, from a family in Karnataka in southwestern India. They are now celebrities because they own a hen that is laying eggs in the shape of cashews. And I know John is a resident disbeliever. So we've got there you go. So those are real hen eggs from a black hen, and they're in the shape of a cashew, kind of a little bit like a lima bean, but we're going to go with cashews because that's what they're telling people. I believe there's 10 eggs in that photo. That's how many she's laid at the time that the article was written. And they're
Actually,
waiting for
9.
There's
is that
9.
9? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then somebody knows if they're tasty or not. Geez, they're waiting, but maybe they found out from the veterinarian. They wanted the veterinarian to come in and find out if there was something wrong with her, why she's laying cashew eggs, and also to find out if they were good to eat. So obviously they found out the answer to one of those questions. My question is if an egg is in the shape of a nut, does that make it vegan? Something to think about. It looks like I'm cracking open a cashew nut. Does that mean that the egg is vegan? We need to get a ruling on that. Also, cashews and eggs, is that a good combination? I've made, in fact, I made it just last week, cashew chicken. So cashews and the next generation of eggs, chicken, go really well together. But do cashews and eggs go well?
I would have to say I am totally unsure because I've never had that, or
Yeah.
I've never heard of anyone having it.
Scrambled eggs and cashews, and I may try that someday. They'll probably throw me out of Denny's for ordering it, but you got to try.
Well, sure. If nothing else, you have to try.
And then I'm thinking, so we know what the humans think. They're trying to figure out how to make money on this, obviously. What does the chicken think about all of this? She looks down one day and she says, "Holy smoke, that doesn't look like a regular egg. It looks like a cashew cluck cluck. This is not, this is not good. I'm going to get written up." And then the poor thing, the next 9 that she lays are all the same shape. That she's going to lose her job. And you know what that means?
What does that mean?
That they remember these chickens. They remember the story of Henrietta. Henrietta had her problems in laying eggs, and next thing you know, she ended up as McNuggets. So,
right.
Yeah,
that's quite a penalty. That's quite a penalty.
Exactly. That's right. So, okay, we've got for regular listeners of the show, I always like to pick on Karen for her robotic vacuum. Karen is one of those robot vacuum owners, of which the lovely Donna and I are as well, but we haven't used ours in a while. You apparently are a regular.
Every night Robinski goes through the whole downstairs.
Robinski, he has a name?
Yeah, of course. He's part of the family.
He's part of the Well, you may want to close the door and not let Robinski hear this next story.
Okay.
Because the Dyson company, which is the people who make those high-tech vacuum cleaners, which the lovely Donna uses instead of her Roomba now, and also the fans with no blades and these weird hair dryer, but they're very high-tech stuff. They announced plans to revolutionize house cleaning by developing a line of robots with hands that can grasp mops and brooms and dust cloths and even dishcloths, so that they can, and sponges, so that they can do your dishes for you. They can pick up clutter around the house. They can find, pick up toys. They can even find lost objects that fell into your couch. I know John always has that problem.
Yes, I do.
At any one time, John's couch has at least a couple $100 in change in it.
I'm coming over.
Oh, there it is. I mean, it's a normal occurrence over here at our house.
There you go. So John, this could
Yeah.
be the perfect thing, the perfect anniversary gift.
Oh, really? Yeah.
A robotic maid for your lovely wife.
Oh,
But you know, we could call her Rosie, like the Jetsons maid.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
problem,
remember
though,
Rosie? Yes.
yeah, the problem is for people like Karen. Karen already has a robot who is responsible for cleaning her floor. What's going to happen should Rosie meet, what's his name again? Rubinsky?
Robinski.
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 Wasn't he a wrestler, John? There was a
No, it sounds like a
great
wrestler's
Robinski.
name, though. It sounds like a wrestler's name, though,
It
Paul.
does sound like a. So what could happen? This could be Robot Wars instead of cleaning.
It could
Yeah.
be. That would be dangerous.
Yeah. Or worse, I was thinking, or worse, one of them goes on strike. And the next thing you know, you look out the window and on the sidewalk in front of your condo, back and forth with a really elaborate picket sign that their artificial intelligence came up with.
I don't need my vacuum Robinski to go on strike because that
Karen,
would mean,
unfair to robots. Yeah.
Right.
that would
Good
mean
news.
I would have to vacuum.
Oh, go, yeah, put you back to work there, Karen.
Yeah.
Don't worry. How long does the battery last? It runs about an hour, right? So the picket,
yeah, it
the
runs
picket
a
would
little
only
over
go
an hour. Yeah.
So yeah, then you don't have to worry about it. All right. So I've been looking forward to doing this story here. Let me begin by asking everyone out there, as well as Karen and John, what kind of phobias do you have, or at least that you would admit to having? And I'll start it off. I have three big phobias. I am claustrophobic, which means I'm afraid of small spaces. I'm also afraid of heights, and I'm also afraid of Steelers fans. So I don't know what that one is called, but I tend to avoid them. But how about you, Karen and John? We'll ask Karen first. What phobias do you have that you're willing to share with us?
Definitely fear of heights.
Fear of heights,
Okay.
yeah.
Even more so, definite fear of high bridges. That's even worse.
That's an interesting one because, you know, I'm not afraid of low heights. Like I used to go up on the roof of our one-story house and blow the leaves off. That didn't bother me. But yeah, on a bridge, looking or in a tall building, forget it. Okay, so I agree with those two. And
then the last one is fear of rodents.
Rodents. Ah, okay. All right, John. How about you?
Well, I'm right on the height thing because it's interesting you just said that, Paul, about the distinction of lower heights to higher heights. Lower heights, I'm okay, but as I get higher, I've got a fear.
High heights.
Certain, yeah.
Okay.
Outside of that, Steeler fans, I could put the Raven fans in that same category.
Raven.
Well, maybe it's not a phobia. Maybe it's just a strong dislike. I would say it's a strong dislike.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, we better move along now. We don't want to lose our pitch.
I'm sorry. We have to be emphasized.
Those are good. Those are good phobias. So I hope everybody else has picked their phobia. According to a new state-by-state survey by an organization called Pro Writing Aid, they studied phobias in the United States. The most common phobia in the United States, believe it or not, is fear of holes. Fear of holes. That's called trypophobia. The second most is fear of water, aquaphobia, followed by fear of needles, trypanophobia, fear of death, thanatophobia, and fear of crowded spaces, agoraphobia, which is similar to fear of small spaces,
right?
Fear of small spaces filled with humans, I guess would be it. So the worst thing, so should combine all those together. The worst thing, if you had all of those phobias, the worst thing for you would be you fell into a hole filled with water and needles that could puncture you to death.
Yeah. That's a bad end. That's a bad end there, Paul.
At the other end of the scale, the least popular phobias, least common, fear of the dark, fear of clowns, which I thought would be at the top of the list, coulrophobia, fear of snakes. Karen, I thought that would be on your list. Fear of heights at the bottom, not at the top, and
Really?
fear of small spaces also at the bottom. So I wanted to show you the map because the map is very interesting. There's our eggs again. So here's the map. Now, they broke it down by state and listed the on the side in order of frequency, the highest and lowest phobia. But there's some states that are very interesting. So I picked Ohio right off the bat, where we are right now. The number one phobia in Ohio is fear of insects. Now, I wouldn't have expected that in Ohio. I would have expected it in Florida, where the number one phobia is also fear of insects. Yeah, which, there's nothing you can do, Florida. I'm sorry. You got to move because that state is full of swamps, which are full of bugs.
Hey, Paul, real quick here if I may.
Yeah.
What fear of holes? Like holes where?
In the
You're gonna
ground.
fall into one? Like you're gonna
In your
walk
skull. I don't know. Yeah, fears that they didn't go into detail, and I didn't want to read about it because then I might catch it. So
Oh,
I
And then
don't.
if you did read about it and you told Karen and I and the rest of our listeners, we'd all be afraid.
Well, there was a movie a few years ago called Holes, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a
Really?
horror movie about
yes,
holes.
you're right.
Yeah. So maybe the movie caused it. Michigan, Karen, the biggest fear in Michigan, fear of large objects, megalophobia, that's called. Texas, for our Texas listeners, Mark and Steeler Girl, I hope we haven't offended Steeler Girl. Fear of water, which is very unusual. I mean, Texas does have a long coastline, but
Sure.
the majority of the state, there's no water, very little water. Oregon, I thought this one was interesting. I would have thought fear of Bigfoot, but it's actually fear of clowns. The only state in the union where the number one sport is the fear of clowns.
To which point, though? To which point, if I may interject, wouldn't fear of Bigfoot be in one? Wouldn't one state have that as its primary fear? Bigfoot.
You would have thought, John. I would have thought that as well. Washington State, way up in the corner where the most Bigfoot sightings are, number one phobia, fear of water.
Bigfoot in the water, maybe. Bigfoot in the river, Bigfoot in the lake.
Talk about scary. Yeah, that must be really scary for them to have a Bigfoot chasing them towards a lake or a river.
Oh, really?
Then what are you going to do?
Exactly.
The fear of clowns is so bad in Oregon. I heard that they got rid of the McDonald's mascot and replaced it with Ronald McBigfoot, which killed my joke.
McBigfoot.
Talking about fear of Bigfoot. Now, couple more I want to point out here: Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin, 3 states that are border on each other.
Contiguous.
Yeah. Number one fear of being stared at. Isn't that an interesting thing to be afraid of? Fear of being stared at. Yeah.
But think of this, though. Those are very populous states, though. There's a lot of people in those states.
Well, that's true.
So maybe,
Well, I can't speak for Illinois and Indiana, but I can't speak for Wisconsin. And, people in Wisconsin, if you're listening and you fear being stared at, take off the cheese head.
Very good. Very good.
I think that's the reason.
You're on point with that. Very good.
Oh yeah. They love their cheese head. All right. So this was an interesting story in England. This lady owns a vacation house in England, and she's going through the hardwood floors, and she finds this on the floor. Now, for those of you that can't see it, it's a pattern in the wood, in the grain of the wood, that looks just like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. Would you say that? He's got the big nose, he's got the dark eyes, he's got the long hair.
I guess, yeah.
The beard, you see the long beard. Even in the full picture, not the one in the circle, a pointy hat on its head. So she's taken advantage of this. And she's advertising to potential visitors to stay there that there's a Gandalf hidden somewhere in in the flat or the cottage that they're staying at. She doesn't say, you know, you would think she would give them maybe a few pounds off if they found it. But
Yeah.
my guess is that she's charging more. There's been so much interest that she's actually charging more for that particular cottage so people can find it. So of course, I came up with a great idea for her to really make a lot of money doing this. What she needs to do is tell the people renting the cottage that there's a Gandalf on the floor and he usually hides underneath a pile of dust.
Oh.
So what you want to do, pick up the dust and then you'll find him. And also get her cottage clean for no charge. Now, but the real question here is that now that she's found this Gandalf in this cottage, what does that make this lady?
Lucky.
Lucky. Good. That's a good answer. Not the answer I was looking for. It makes her the landlord of the rings.
Oh.
And there's
No,
What
I think you should be. Oh,
yeah, Bigfoot
you
agrees
hear
with
from Bigfoot. Bigfoot is spoken. Very good.
Yeah, boy, I lost my I don't want to lose my place here. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I knew you'd like that one, John. So
I did. Yeah, thanks.
a new poll. This one also comes from England. A new poll from England of 2,000 British adults found that 3/4 of British adults believe aliens are already on Earth and they're here to romance humans. So 3/4 of them, 3 out of every 4 people think that aliens are here to have sex with humans. 20% of those surveyed actually have recurring dreams of being abducted by aliens for sex, and 13% actually do it with the sextraterrestrials, which is what they call them, in their dreams. Yes, they have sex in their dreams with space aliens. Is that a wet dream or is that a wet dream?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either, John. I don't know.
Hard to describe, Paul.
But I was wondering, you know, this tells you a lot about the British. You know, they're different than us, even though, you know, way back when many of us came, our ancestors came from England. We're definitely different. So I think that the British are attracted to space aliens because space aliens don't make fun of their teeth. Sorry for all of our British listeners there.
That's a possibility, I think.
Get over it. That's right. That's right. Have you looked in the mirror? Or maybe the aliens know which part of the spaceship the booty is, because, you know, the British come up to them and they say, "Oh, that's a nice spaceship. What do you got in the booty?" And they know that that's the trunk. So, you know, they'll fall in love with them.
No,
or maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. Paul, there's something to that. I'm not sure what. But
I think there's something to it. Okay, so I want to do an archaeological story here. This one comes from Wyoming. So these archaeologists are digging in Wyoming, and they found the oldest mine in what is now the United States, a 13,000-year-old mine where the early Americans, Native Americans, mined for red ochre, which is the red rock that they powdered, they pound into powder and added water, and they used it for paint and painted their faces and painted their hair and did all kind of stuff. It's very versatile stone. They also used it for antiseptics, sunscreen, vermin repellent, Karen, there you go, keep away the rodents, and for artistic decoration. Red ochre was the rock, 13,000-year-old mine. But the part that I found most interesting is that they're down in the mine looking at the red ochre, and they look up at the wall of the mine, and written on the wall were the lyrics to a song, Ochre Miner's Daughter. Beautiful. I don't know if you remember.
Where's Bigfoot's reply?
Bigfoot's probably. Yeah.
If the shoe fits, wear it.
Ochre Miner's Daughter. The I'm sorry. Let's see what time. Oh God, no, one more, one more. Then we got to move on. So dogs sniff fire hydrants. We'll all agree on that. New research found that bottlenose dolphins don't sniff fire hydrants. They actually taste the urine of other bottlenose dolphin as a way to send messages to each other.
Oh boy,
Warn
what
them that
a
something's
story
coming
that
or
is.
there's yeah, bottlenose dolphin. And it's also a way to recognize their friends. Not all bottlenose dolphins like this, so they're hoping that someday there's a facial recognition software for dolphins, and they don't have to taste the urine of their other dolphin. But I'm thinking, and I'm sure we'll all agree, we're glad that humans don't do this.
Really?
I can just see that. I go to visit John. I said, John, did you get my message? And John says, no, I flushed it. It's just not good.
Oh my God.
Anyways, all right. I think we've done enough damage with the weird news story. So let's take a turn to the sports world with What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. Now, regular listeners know that every week I ask John, I've known since college. He has always been a sports aficionado, knows more about sports than 10 people combined, maybe 20. So I ask John every week, John, find us some unusual sport to talk about on What in the World. And John always manages to do that. I also give him the challenge occasionally to find a sport that we can participate in. And I believe that the sport this week is one that we could all participate in. So let's hear what John has to say. What sport do you have for this week?
Well, I think you're correct in that each of us could participate in this sport if we would choose to do so. But as I explain it, then maybe we'll see if we choose to do it or not. But
Okay.
no, for the introduction, the sport this week is combat archery. Yes, you heard that.
No, we're not
correct.
going to do that.
No,
I already answered that question right up front. Combat archery does
Yeah,
not sound safe.
Right. This ship has already sailed, so to speak, but it's combat archery.
Combat archery. Okay.
Now, if you happen to be a fan of the Hunger Games or the TV series Arrow,
Okay.
you may secretly want to try that type of archery. And now, and you can
shooting at other people.
Right. Now, thanks to a sport called, or not a sport, but an entity called Dodgeball.
Dodgeball. Oh, good name. Good name. I'll give them that credit for that.
Let me explain. Dodgeball was a company founded to bring combat archery sports to the city of Montreal, Canada. Interest was so high in Montreal. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Interest was so high in Montreal that the company quickly opened Dodgeball facilities in Toronto, the United States, and believe it or not, 30 other countries. At last count, there are 331 Dodgeball locations worldwide, including a few in Ohio, where we are.
Yeah, wow.
I just ask you to Google combat archery, and you'll have all the information you need.
If you convince me this is safe, I will do it.
Yes,
but I'm not convinced yet.
Okay, but let me explain. I will explain what combat archery is exactly. It is a combination of dodgeball and paintball, but using bows and arrows. Now, it sounds weird. Let me explain.
Yeah.
Let's get one thing clear right up front. The arrows have foam tips, and the players wear face masks and arm guards. Now, of course, you still need to sign a waiver and release form as you do in any kind of activity where an injury could occur. But there is, for what you can do, there's a 15-minute orientation where the rules are explained in detail and where participants can practice their shooting. So you just don't go into it cold. You at least have a little bit of a orientation.
15 whole minutes. Yeah, okay.
Right. But wait, the field and rules of the games are similar to those of dodgeball and paintball combined. There are 2 teams with a maximum of 10 players each, and the field is 5,000 square feet. So it's in a relatively larger area.
Yeah, really.
The game the periods, the game periods last 45 minutes. And in the period, 5 to 6 games can be played. And they can be played up to as long as 8 minutes each. And there are pauses in between for rule clarifications. I mean, this is not a
Or
chaotic
to pull the arrow out of somebody.
well, yeah, I mean, this is not a chaotic sport. I mean, there's actually some governance in it. There is some,
Okay, all right, I believe you.
okay. Now, so there are 5 types of combat archery games.
Okay.
You can choose the ones that you have an interest in and want to find out more about. The first one is aptly named. It's called Bullseye. And in Bullseye, targets are placed on either side of the playing field. For a team to win, players must strike out all players on the opposing team or hit all enemy targets before time runs out.
Well, so that sounds a lot like dodgeball throwing.
Yeah, well, that's again the dodgeball.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Okay, this is an interesting term for this game. It's called loyalty, but let me explain. When a player is struck by an arrow of the opposing team, they must cross the arena and then join the opposing team. And the team that crosses over the most players wins. Now, to me, this is very unique. It's a very unique aspect of this type of sport.
Right, right.
The third one is man down. And this is when a player is struck out, instead of leaving the playing field, they sit on the ground. Now, a special medic player, and he's equipped with only a shield, he is granted the power to revive eliminated players. So that person can bring that person back to playing form. If the medic is struck out, the team loses its ability to revive players. So obviously it would be key if you can knock the medic out, because if you knock the medic out, then he's not going to be able to, help the opposing players.
Yeah.
The fourth one is capture the flag. And the first thing when I hear capture the flag, I think of the board game from the 60s, Strategic.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
right.
But 6 flags, 3 per team, are set up in a safe zone across the arena. Teams must successfully capture and carry the opposing team's flag back to their base.
Okay.
And that's what
Right.
is going on in the competition. And the last one here is called the golden arrow.
Oh,
This is where 6 golden arrows are introduced into the playing field. Golden arrows can strike out multiple players by even bouncing off obstacles.
oh, wow.
So that's, it depends on what your like is in terms of choosing any one of the 5. Now, frankly, you don't need to be skilled with bow and arrow to get a great and fun workout playing combat archery at Dodgeball.
Yeah.
I guess you could say this is one Hunger game where the only goal is to work up an appetite.
Oh.
Sorry, had to
All
say.
right.
Sorry, folks, had to say that one. But yeah.
Well, it does look, this particular picture right here looks interesting. It looks like a good workout. People are running around. There's barriers set up. You have to hide, kind of like paintball. They're all wearing protective equipment. So I guess it could, it looks like it could be a fun sport. Not necessarily one I would try, but definitely.
Unless we have people, Paul and Karen, of our similar skill ability, similar ability. If we're competing with people of similar abilities, then I think it would be okay.
Yeah,
really good. I don't think we're in there. I don't think we're competing.
Yeah, and as long as it doesn't hurt when
the
arrow hits you.
That's right.
That's
exactly.
Right. So, I looked for some photos of John and I playing this sport, and I couldn't find any. But I did find something that would probably be the end result of the two of us participating in, what is it called again?
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball. Wait, let me step out for a second here, and I'll step right back in. This is what it would look like.
I love it.
I think it would be, Paul, from both you and I would be both in that kind of position.
This is my, for those of you who are not watching on YouTube, I'm wearing my official Steve Martin arrow through the head.
I love it.
In fact, I'm going to leave it on while we do. While we do.
Good move. You know what? I think that's a good move.
Maybe it'll bring somebody luck. Well, thank you, John, for that. Another interesting sport, combat archery. That's look. You know, I did take a look, and there are a couple in Northeast Ohio. I'm not sure if they're called combat archery, but it's basically the same thing. So definitely, if you're interested, Google it. If you're in the Cleveland area, any place. You know, probably any place around the world, 30 countries. So, geez.
Yeah, I mean, it's popular, but not known, though. I mean, it's a popular
sport. No, it's not known. That's right.
Known. I mean, I really don't think so. But,
yeah, nowhere near as popular as Bluff the Coho, which is
of course not.
Worldwide.
No.
Worldwide. I can't believe that they haven't contacted us yet to do a TV version of Bluff the Coho.
Maybe they just keep hoping. Just
Let's
keep competing and keep hoping. You know,
right.
Competing and hoping, you know, so.
Yes, yeah. So for those of you who are new to What in the World, we every week at the end of the show, we play a game called Bluff the Co-Host. Real simple. I have 3 stories similar to the ones where you've been listening to for the past hour. One difference, those were all true. Under Bluff the Co-Host, some of them may be bluffs rather than real. And it's up to John, Karen, and those of you listening on the podcast to decide which are real, which are bluff. Wagering is allowed, so place your bet. Karen and John, put your hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number 1.
Okay.
If you're of a certain age, you'll remember reading the book by English author A.A. Milne, watching the various Winnie the Pooh Disney movies, or singing along to The House at Pooh Corner by Loggins and Messina. Well, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2 are back again like you've never seen them before in an independent horror film called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It's your typical teens in a dark house movie with bloody messages written on the walls, written by scary people dressed like Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2. Let's just say you don't want to know what they do with the honey. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, coming soon to a theater near you. All right, Winnie the Pooh gets turned into a horror movie. What do you say, Karen? Real or bluff?
You know, I love Winnie the Pooh and I love Tigger too. And I hope this is a bluff, because if it's real, I'm going to really, really cry.
Oh, yeah. I bet a lot of Winnie the Pooh fans out there. So, okay. So Karen says that she's hoping that that's a bluff. John, how about you? What do you say?
No, I agree with Karen on this, but anything is possible when it comes to horror movies, right? When you think of like the theme behind it, or who actually, conjures up these stories. But how do you go with Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, okay, as being, subjects or being characters involved in it? I mean, I know it's a wide open world, okay, but I just pray that it's false. Hope it's false.
Okay. So John prays it's false. John says it's a bluff. Karen says it's a bluff and feels the same way. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, bad news, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is coming soon to a theater near you.
No.
I don't know how they got permission from Disney or the Milne estate, but they're actually doing it.
Here is a follow-up. Can we track to see how popular or successful this movie is?
Okay. It's an independent film, so it'll be first they have to do it at Cannes and Sundance. And
okay.
Right. Well, of course, those outlets. I mean, there's anything goes there. But
all right, that's right. That's exactly right. So let's see. Let's take a look at the scoreboard here, and the score is 0-0, continuing a trend from last week, Karen.
Yeah, we can only go up.
There you go. And John, that week off.
Like Karen says, nowhere to go but up. Nowhere to go.
Well, I think you'll do better on this one. Let's move right on into story number 2. If taking a cruise isn't scary enough these days, a Norwegian cruise line is offering trips from New York to the Bermuda Triangle that go through the waters of the Bermuda Triangle, which is said to be responsible for hundreds of mysterious boat and plane disappearances. But don't worry, the company is promising a full refund if the cruise ship disappears in the Bermuda Triangle while you're on your cruise. They're hoping you don't figure out you won't be around to collect the money. But you're already not the sharpest knife on the buffet table if you're taking a cruise in the first place. Cabins are $1,800 each and going fast, so book yours today. All right, John and Karen and everybody out there, a cruise line is offering cruises through the Bermuda Triangle with a money-back guarantee if you don't survive. What do you say, John? Real or bluff?
Well, from a logical point of view, I think it's totally impossible that they would have something like this. From a logical point of view,
Logical, okay,
that's not part of our show, and that's not part of this feature of the show. But I'm still going to say that it's false, because how can you have a destination called the Bermuda Triangle and you're going through it? I mean, when you're on a cruise, you're going to from one location to another, correct? I mean,
okay. Well, yeah.
I'm doing this from a logical view, folks, but
Okay.
to me, this is what I pray is got to be false.
So would it be better if the destination was Miami and they're going from Miami to New York to Miami through the Bermuda Triangle?
Exactly. I mean, it just seems like it's such a fatalistic cruise. You're going to the Bermuda Triangle. Are you coming back? To me, I don't think so. So
where's your sense of adventure, John? Okay, we'll move on. I don't. We could be here all day. So John says it's the bluff. Karen, how about you? The cruise through the Bermuda Triangle. What do you say?
Well, I want it to be a bluff, but I believe it's true, because people are always trying to prove that either the Bermuda Triangle is real, or it's not. So, it's a money-making scheme by some cruise company. Yeah, I can see it happening.
So Karen says it's real. John says it's a bluff. Do you think that the Bermuda Triangle is real?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I really don't think it truly exists in the manner that we've been told.
Okay. So let's see. One more time. So Karen says it's real. John says it's a bluff, that there's a cruise through the Bermuda Triangle. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, congratulations, Karen. That's a real story.
Oh my God.
Believe it or not, John. That's right. Money back guarantee if not completely alive.
See, Karen's on the rebound now, and I'm 0 for 2. And I can't imagine what kind of studying we have to do next week if I'm 0 for 3.
Wait, we got to get through today's game, John.
Why? I'm
everyone
thinking
who's been here before knows points are doubled.
Yeah.
Streak. Go ahead.
Points are doubled in round number 3. So John still has a chance. It's like having a free runner on second base.
Right.
That's right. A new baseball rule. That's right. Paul.
There you go. So points are doubled in round number 3. So let's get right to it. Hands on the buzzer. A small college in New Zealand is having difficulty finding opponents for its rugby team to play after word got out that the school also sponsors fraternities and sororities for witches, warlocks, and other practitioners of the occult. The other schools in their division have heard rumors that the frat brothers and sorority sisters are using their powers to conjure up demons to play on the rugby team to help them win the league championship. The school says this is nonsense, and the huge players on the scrum are the result of many hours in the weight room, not in the frat house. While the rugby players swear they drink beer, not blood, their season could be over before it starts if one more team pulls out. All right, so the college in New Zealand having a hard time getting opponents for their rugby team because other schools heard that some of the players are demons, conjured up by fraternities and sororities. I think we got everything in there. What do you say, Karen? Real or bluff?
Wow. Well, sororities and fraternities come up with weird things to do, so I'm going to say it's true.
Okay. And that's a very logical route to true. John, how about you?
I'm going to say it's true also. And I think that the power of suggestion that these people have, we got the demons on our side. I mean, hey, anything's possible. So especially with fraternity people, not that you and I would not know anything more beyond that because we're in a fraternity for 4 years. But I'm going to say it's true also. I'm going to say it's true. Yes. I'm gonna say it's
Just
true.
for the record, we never conjured anything up that I can
No,
remember.
I would have to say Paul. I've known Paul for all these years, and again for the 4 years together
No
in
demon.
college.
No.
No, I don't
Okay, so
remember a demon on the team.
all right, John and Karen both say that that's a real story from New Zealand, conjuring up demons to play on the rugby team. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "We're sorry, that's a bluff," which means that Karen won this
There
week.
you go,
So-
Karen. Very
No,
good.
we tied.
No,
He
no,
got-
Karen.
No,
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 hold on.
John was
You
He
got one
got the
right.
first one right. You got the first one right. I got the first one
no,
wrong.
you guys
No.
both
I
agreed
lost
on that one.
all three.
Oh.
On.
Okay.
But I have this. We need to get an electronic scoreboard here.
Paul, let me ask you a question. Paul, let me
Oh,
ask you a
sure.
have you conjured up a demon that's been able to like manipulate our performance here where the demon
No, just you, John. Just
well,
you.
okay.
Not both, just
I have a hard
yours.
time living with myself. I have a
Oh
hard time
my
living with
gosh.
myself. That's what I have to say with that one.
I've conjured up a Bigfoot. The Bigfoot is cursing you at Bluff the co-host. All right,
I should listen up and become more sensitive to the Bigfoot.
there you go. I hope everybody playing out there in podcast world got all three of those right on Bluff the co-host. I'm going to take this air. Well, no, I'm going to leave it on while we close out. I want to thank our Karen Hale for being the media mogul, producer, and co-host on What in the World. Thank you for everything that you do. Everybody go visit newclevelandradio.net, download our podcast, download all the great podcasts Karen has there. I want to thank John DiNallo, my old friend, and me, not media mogul, but sports mogul for What in the World. Thanks again, John. Glad you're back. Good luck next week on What in the World.
Yeah, we'll be studying. That's all I have to say.
And for those
Guys.
of you who celebrate Memorial Day, have a very safe
Yes.
Memorial Day weekend.
See you next
Drive
week.
safely, have fun, and we'll be back on our regular day next week.
That's right,
which
on
is
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yes.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.